Hey everyone, uh, excited to be here and giving a talk on NX after like long time, probably. Yeah, and really excited about it. I mean, I missed the last conference which Eddie had, and I was like, oh my god, I should be there. And once like they had CFP for this one Angular Tiny Conf, I was like, oh okay, I have to apply for a talk. And so what we'll be doing today is I'll walk you through planning and migrating your apps to NX. This can be applied to any framework. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have Angular or if you have React or if you have uh, your own other frameworks as part of NX. But yeah, it can be applied to any framework which you have been using. And we will go through like why should you choose NX first before we come to the migration part. And yeah, let's see. So why should we do that? Of course, let's make the life easier for your teams. I mean, that's the best. I would say the best point to choose when you are migrating to NX. So yeah, let's see. So a little bit about myself. I'm Santosh Yadav. I'm in Hamburg right now. Not Hamburg, but yeah, nearby Hamburg in Germany. And I work as a senior software engineer at Celonis. I'm a GD for Angular, a GitHub Star Auth0 ambassador, and I am a co-founder of this learning community. I uh, just had Lars on the chat, my co-founder and a great friend, and we also had my co-host for this is Tech Talks, Jay and Lars, both on the chat as well. So we do this Tech Talks. This is Tech Talks podcast as well, which we haven't done any episodes so few months because of course everyone is busy a little bit right now. But yeah, once we get time, we'll be back with the show. And in case you want to become part of the community or you want to reach out to me, you can do that. I'm available on Twitter. I'm on a break for 2 weeks, but yeah, if you have any questions, just drop me a DM. I'll probably reply once I'm back, or just feel free to message me on LinkedIn. And I do some stuff at, I mean, on my GitHub profile. So if you want to go ahead and check out what I do, just go there and see Santosh Yadav Dev. And yeah, Jason was there. So thanks, Jason. So let's see how why first of all why right why you should choose NX. So let's go ahead and see. And this is a story which you will find at every organization. Doesn't matter it's a startup or a big organization. I think it's something which is in cycle, which happens every year or every quarter. I mean, depends upon how big your organization is and how many apps they create. So for every organization to exist, this is how they start, right? I mean, they start with a single app. So someone comes in with some idea and says, hey, let's build this app. And then this is how your organization works. Then to support that app, probably you'll build some other apps. Then it keeps growing, right? Your number of apps in your organization will keep increasing. And some will like reach end of life, someone will be discontinued. But it's a cycle, right? I mean, the creation of apps will never stop. And that's why we have a job, right? So let's see. So this is first step. This is where everything starts. Once your organization is there and you have multiple apps, so every probably there will be multiple teams working in the organization, or there will be few people who may like people will come and go, new people will join, and everyone thinks, okay, when I have to start a new app, let's choose a framework, right? Of course, that's something which is required. So what you need, if that's like customer facing application, you need a front end, you need some back end to save your data, you need a database. So someone comes in and says, hey, let's choose Angular because yeah, Angular is cool and everything. Someone comes and then says, hey, what about backend? Let's choose Nest.js for our Angular apps. Then someone new comes, hey, React is cool. I love React, and let's choose React. And someone comes back and says, hey, let's choose React plus Node.js, or let's choose Solid.js, Quick.js, Svelte. I mean, this will never stop, right? I mean, new people will always come with new idea, and it depends upon the app, right? I mean, there is no better framework. It's always depends. It always depends upon the teams, how comfortable the teams are, and how big app is. Probably if you don't want to use any complex framework, if it's a very easy app, I mean, this is where something you can just use something which is already giving you a lot of options. And then you can just like, for example, Spartan, I really love the framework by Robin, he's working on it, and it's a full stack framework, right? So you can probably choose that. Or Analog.js is amazing. You can probably do that. But yeah, but don't underestimate Astro as well, right? Because if you have a simple website with some blogs and everything, of course, Astro is also a cool choice. So it will always like repeat, right? The cycles will repeat. There will be new frameworks which will be added to your organization. There will be new apps which will be coming. And then what happens once you have a lot of apps flying around your applications? You will say, hey, what about code sharing? Let's go ahead and build some libraries, right? I mean, because we need this shared code in our like 3 to 4 apps. So why not to just like move it to shared library, publish it on some artifactory, and then use it? And I'm not talking about the Angular libraries, right? I mean, of course, this is an Angular framework, Angular conference, but still, right? So you can create or publish libraries using JavaScript as well, TypeScript. So it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm just talking about the shared libraries. And what happens? So you have app one. What happens in this case, right? You create a shared library. Team one creates a shared library which says, okay, we created it using Angular 11. Someone comes in and says, hey, we are on Angular 10. We need the backward compatibility support. Someone says, hey, we are on Angular 8. We cannot use IV, so we need backward compatibility support. Someone says, hey, we want to upgrade to 13. And at the end, you just leave your job, right? I mean, you resign. You're saying, what the hell? I'm not going to support all these things. And at the end, of course, the team who is managing the shared libraries, they're like, okay, what the hell, why we did this? So this is never going to stop, right? I mean, you will keep, of course, you have to, at the end, you have to uh, feed in the teams or the team's requirement in case you are handling the shared libraries. So you will, of course, publish multiple version as we do. So v4, v5, and then always keep supporting them with bug fixes and everything, features, requests. Bug fixes are still fine. If they need a feature which is like not backward compatible, that's a mess. And design system, right? Now in today's world, everyone loves design system. Everyone wants their own design system. But what in this case? I mean, you have multiple applications flying around, and then someone says, "Hey, we don't have time to actually upgrade to the latest design system, so we need." We are still going to be on the old design system, and someone says, "Hey, we'll be doing this in this quarter, or we'll be doing this next year." As a design system, it's a pain, right? Because you have to always go ahead and adopt to the new changes, new user experience which you have to implement, new user interactions which you have to implement, and then it becomes really difficult to actually support all these different applications. And then we again do the same stuff. We publish multiple versions, and then people are like, okay, this is v1, v2, and then you get a bug which is not related to your latest fix, but latest version, but very old version which probably you cannot support anymore, right? And then again, as a design system, it becomes very difficult. And what happens? And one more thing which I have seen, custom scripts. I'm sure. I mean, everyone listening to this talk, they have some custom scripts in their repository. And don't lie, please. I mean, of course, I had a lot of custom scripts in my own application as well. I have seen like people love writing custom scripts. So what we do, once we have to use this custom script in the another app, what we do, just copy paste, and then even though you don't need it, it's still fine. It's still lying around your repository because, of course, it was copied from somewhere, right? So this is what happens. And then another issue, as a developer, of course, you are working on multiple applications, and what you do npm install, yarn install, whatever. Of course, if you're doing pnpm, it caches a lot of packages for you, but still, right, you download all those packages multiple times. So what you have is actually you have multiple heaviest objects in the universe on your laptop. It's not single. I mean, I'm saying you have multiple applications. All those node modules are actually on your local machine, and you are in mess. And what you do is actually now you are in the multiverse of madness on your. I mean, it's a mess, right? I mean, managing multiple node modules and then probably node versions. I mean, I know NVM is there, but why should we care about it, right? I mean, it's shuffling between multiple node version is a pain. Sometimes you are not in your full energy, and then you forget about, okay, if I'm using NVM Node.js 14 or 16, and then you mess up your node modules and still not working, and then you end up wasting your entire day. So okay, but yeah, this is node modules. Now what about builds? So you have multiple apps. Now what you have to do, you have to, of course, build them. What you will use, of course, probably you will use Circle CI, GitHub Actions, whatever you choose. And what in case you make a change to a shared library which is shared between multiple apps? So as you see in this diagram, the first occur is actually, let's say, your design system, and then second layer is your libraries, and then there are apps, right? So you make some changes to the first library or like shared code which you have, which like let's say is used into two different libraries which are used in app 2 and 3. But what you do, this is the impacted code, right? But do we have any option to just build them? Of course, probably in case you have a shared code, you have to go ahead and build everything, right? I mean, you have to go ahead and build the other applications where you will be probably increasing your version, which does not impact them, but as they're part of the shared code, I mean, you end up building everything. So for different applications, for libraries, for design system, whatever you have, everything will be rebuilt again and again. And it's not cheap. I mean, believe me, GitHub Actions, and of course uh, you can use them, but they are not cheap, right? I mean, of course, for the open source projects they are free, and then you don't care about it. But if you are working for an organization, it matters. It matters. Every dollar matters. I mean, so these are some different some issues, right? But what about the app? So of course, your app size will keep increasing, right? Because somehow your product manager have a lot of money and they want features. They want features now. Why? I mean, of course, no one knows why they need the features now. So what you will do is you will keep adding all those features in your code base, and your code base will increase. And if your code base increases, of course, it means you need more time to build those applications. And what happens again? Of course, it will cost a lot of money to your organization, right? Of course, they are investing money, and then you are burning money. Somehow, it is related. And then what happens next? So your application is huge, you have a lot of dependencies, you raise a PR, and now you are blocked. And what you do next? I mean, of course, I'll go for a coffee break and come back again to see if my PR is done or not. Otherwise, just wait again, right? I mean, I don't have any options. Another issue. So let's say if you have applications, I mean, this can be true for mono-repos as well. This doesn't matter. I mean, you can mess up everywhere. I mean, as a developer, you have to be really careful how you are like architecting your application, right? I mean, otherwise you can mess up anything. For example, this diagram. Of course, I'm sure you won't be, you are not able to understand what is this, because I even don't understand what is this. I mean, there is dependencies between multiple libraries and your applications, and they're going everywhere, right? And someone who joins the team and says, hey, what is this mess? Why this dependencies are going everywhere? Why someone is using app? I mean, apps should not go to data access. I mean, data access should come to app. But yeah, this is the mess we have. And then on first day you decide to like, what the hell? Where am I? And you decide, okay, this is the worst application I have ever seen. This is true for many applications, right? I mean, no one cares about those, but of course they impact in some ways. They impact like your developer experience. They impact your build times and a lot of other things. They cause you frustration. So let's see how you can move to NX. So if you have an existing Angular application, you can just do ng add narwhal Angular, and you can just move to NX. Cool, right? I mean, just a single command. Let's see what else. But in case someone is from not Angular, they are from React, don't worry. I still have content for you. But in case you want to move to NX, yes, there are two options. You can do yarn NX init, or you can do npx CRE to NX. In case you already have a CRA, create a React app, you can move to NX. And what best? What else? What else we have? So you have Vite support. So once you migrate your application from CRA to NX, you get Vite out of the box. You don't have to do anything. I mean, it will 90% of the migration will be done for you. Probably some breaking changes may be there, but last I spoke to Yuri and he said, yeah, 90% of the migration will be done for you. So yep. But are we done yet? I mean, is that it? Running those commands and then are you migrated to the NX? The answer is no. So this is where actually journey starts. So now you are inside the NX mono-repo. So the migration journey for you starts here. So what you have to do next? So I actually split the migration journey into 3 iterations. So the first iteration, what I will be doing is, what I suggest to do is, start moving codes to libraries. Start making your app smaller, right? I mean, there will be many code bases, which is, of course, there are small features. They are actually small features. So what you can do is you can move to them to libraries. Now, NX supports the nested folder structure as well. So you don't have to actually move them like outside the libs folder, which we generally used to do. Now you don't need to do that. You have nested folder structure support, so you can keep inside your app only. So your app should be shell. This is what I suggest everyone who wants to migrate to NX, that your app should be shell, and it will just contain the smallest code possible. In iteration one, this is what I suggest everyone to do is disable lint errors. I mean, it will cause a lot of iterations before you actually are able to fix all those lint errors. So disable lint errors in your first iteration. First iteration should be like moving code, splitting them into smaller chunks, libraries. Another thing which I suggest in iteration one is disable your circular dependency check. It's okay, leave them aside, fix them in future, because if you try to eat everything at once, it will be a mess. I mean, you will take more time, and then you'll be frustrated, and you will leave the migration in between, and then move to production. This is one iteration one, move to production. Remember, progress, not perfection. We are not looking at perfection here. We are looking for progress, that okay, we are slowly moving on to the next. Then what I suggest in iteration two is now pick up the lint errors, move to production, and repeat this for every library, and do this for app and library. Don't like try to fix all the lint errors for entire mono-repo at once, because once you split your code, you will end up with multiple libraries or probably multiple apps. Repeat and move to production. Repeat, fix it, move to production, repeat. That's what you should be doing in iteration two. In iteration three, now this is the time to fix your circular dependencies. So again, this is what I suggest. Pick one circular dependency, fix it, move to production, pick up another library or probably app, and then keep fixing your circular dependency and keep moving to production. So you are not blocked anywhere. And this can be splitted into multiple teams, right? So not only one person has to do it. So you can, if you have multiple libraries, circular dependency, you can say, hey, choose, like, take care of library one, I'll take care of library two, and then everyone wins, right, at the end. So what should be the end goal after you have done this? So the end goal should be your shell, your app should have a minimum code possible, and then most of your code resides in your library. So it can be your UI, like UI components. It can be a state. It can be a feature one, feature two. So split them into those smaller chunks, right? Uh, but what about the let me show you an example, right? Why not? I mean, so this is a mono-repo which I have created for Angular. I mean, this is, let me show you a few examples how you can do that. For example, if I have to add React into my code base, or let's say I have to add Nest.js, right? So I can just go ahead and say, okay, go ahead and add a dependency. And I'm using NX console. NX console is amazing. Go ahead and use it. You don't have to remember all those commands, because there are so many different plugins which are available, and it becomes hard sometimes to remember all those. Of course, you have CLI, choose whatever works best for you. So let's say if I want to add Nest, I can just say, okay, go ahead and add Nest dependency, and then I can keep adding. I can go ahead and add new applications or new Nest applications into my project. NX also gives you, as I said, you will be able to, you should not build everything which is available, right? You should not build in the entire code. You have affected commands, so you can say, okay, let's run affected builds only, affected lanes only, affected serve. So it saves your time, and yeah, it saves your time on local, because if you're working on multiple libraries, because after migration you will end up with many number of libraries, right? So what you can do is, in case you update library one, you can just say affected build, and it will just build the affected application. So it will not build other 10 libraries which are not related. So these are affected commands. And then of course you have migrate, which is very amazing, right? I mean, you can choose the dependency which you want to update. So by default, of course, NX has Angular migration. It has, I think, Nest.js, Nest.js, Next.js, and then you have React as well. So you can, they are already built in. So you can go ahead and update or migrate your application from one version to another version by just using the NX migrate command. And if anyone has anyone has plugin, for example, let's say there is a plugin for Solid and they have a migration support, you can actually upgrade your Solid application as well. There is a quick plugin for NX as well. If you want to try it out, Sty did a great job introducing the NX plugin for quick, and yeah, it's available as of now. I mean, you can go ahead and use it. So these are few commands which you can run from here. And you can also check the dependency, which is really important when you are working on migrating your application, because your dependency should be like apps should not be consumed in libs, right? I mean, libs should be consumed in app. So using dependency graph, uh, yeah, where is that? Yeah, affected graph. So you can see, okay, what is affected, but you have an X graph as well. So to run, so you can say yarn NX graph, and it will show you all the dependency tree for your application and that tree. So always keep looking at it if you have any issues in or any dependencies which should not be there. But you can also stop it. Like, let's say this family store has dependency on e2e, sorry, e2 has dependency on family store, and then of course there are a few libraries. User is actually dependent on family store. So this is my dependency tree, and you can actually visualize it using an xgraph command. So utilize them in case you are splitting your code base, so you know, okay, what is getting consumed where. But as I said, you can also capture it before or someone by mistake actually introduces these dependencies. You can also do this thing, which is really cool about NX, that NX has this dependency constants. So you can go to ESLint RC and you can define your dependency constants here. For example, family store should only depend on orders and it should not depend on anything else. And how you can define is just, of course, you have to say source tag and only depend on libs with tags. And this tags, which I'm referring here, is actually available in individual project.json. So this is, as a lead of your project, this is something which you should do. You should define all these dependencies so no one is breaking those dependencies and no one is actually consuming the libs which they are not supposed to do. So yeah, this is a little bit about NX. And if you want to actually utilize all these features like affected builds on your CI, you can also use NX Cloud, which is a very cool product. So you can it's free for open source projects. If you want to just try it out, create an open source project and just try it out, and it will you will see the advantage of NX Cloud. You can actually connect to NX Cloud by using yarn NX Connect. Just run this command on your workspace, NX workspace, and you will be the NX Cloud will be configured for you. So this is it. And I have a free code camp course on YouTube, so it's free. It's available on free code. As I said, it's available on free code camp. It's a 17 hours course for Angular, and it was created using Angular 13. I have to upgrade it. A new version will be available in future, but right now, yeah, this is the code which this is the course which I have. If you want to learn more how we migrated to NX from Angular CLI, this is there is a blog post which I have written, and there is a video from Yuri how you can migrate multiple Angular apps to NX. And thank you. So